Ultra Happy People. I am your host, ultra runner and coach Tanya, and your magnificent co-host, Auntie. Oh my God, we are.
I'm in a happy mood today.
You know what? It's because you started running.
Well, actually, it has. I think it has got something to do with that, but I'm sure we'll talk.
Because you feel a little bit like your like life has a little bit like a meaning, like you're working towards something.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Eh?
Oh no, I guess I do. Because
Yeah, you have like I don't know, like a goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than just existing and working.
Just existing and working. Yeah.
So you have a little bit.
I agree.
Like an exciting, I don't know, something. So that's why it's called the Ultra Happy Podcast, because I am always like super happy, and I kind of
That is not true.
in general. Yeah, I am a quite optimistic person, and I think that is not the only, but I would say it plays a big part in why am I able to do what I do. Because I think if you come with a mindset or you are into the negative side, or you're like a kind of like a pessimistic person, I think you will deal different. Like it will be harder, you know.
I love how I've led you down this path, because for those who listen, they know that this isn't scripted. Tanya doesn't know pretty much what we're going to talk about. She just knows what she's going to talk about. So actually, and we'll go on to Andy's facts in a minute, but that's kind of what I was wanting to talk about today.
Really?
Facts, yeah. Just because I tell you why,
Connected.
right? Is that, see, and normally you would ask me how my running is, so can you...
How's your running?
Thank you very much.
Do it. How's everyone been? I first ask people if you're running, if you're like having a hard workout. I think you wouldn't listen to us if you were like doing like a super hard workout. So I think if you're more doing like a more chilled run, this is the
perfect story for you.
The perfect podcast for you. Yeah. So just hope you're enjoying your day out wherever you are, running or doing things around the home. Because I think that's when you listen to podcasts, when you're like cleaning.
Yeah, I know. Strangely enough, I know.
So yeah.
But okay. So
how's it? Sorry, yeah.
So thank you for asking.
Yeah, how's
thank
your
you for asking, everyone.
Do it.
It's been good.
Okay.
I've been really positive about it recently. So the thing is, for me, is that
Week 4, by the way.
I'm going through the ups and downs of running and training. My mindset is now changed from it being I'm just out running to I'm training.
Oh, okay.
Which is different.
What's the difference for you?
So in the morning, before I would get up and I run alternate days,
yeah,
I would have been up and going, I need to run today, just thinking it's part of my fitness regime.
Right.
Whereas when I get up now, I think it's my running day. I need to get out there and run and get some
because
miles
otherwise,
in.
yeah.
And also, thanks to you, because of my dodgy ankle, I have been doing more warm-ups for my runs, because I'm thinking about like what I need to do to achieve what I want to do.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I love that. So
So
that's more like
different.
a training than just.
Aye,
That's what I was saying. It's like not surviving, like, oh, I'm just ticking the boxes. You know, like now you have like a end goal. Like you have something to look forward, and that definitely gives you a meaning, living wise. So you're happier, and you're like a little bit like.
But the thing is I've went through a massive range of emotions in the past 4 weeks.
Okay, I don't know about this. So
Well,
this will be
it's
interesting.
because of my mentally you think about things. So I've had good runs, bad runs.
Oh yes, of course.
I've had rubbish training runs. I've been like, there's been days where it's just
you feel super strong, and then there's days that you're like, I'm never gonna finish this. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've been going up and down, but it's got me to think. In fact, I read a really interesting quote, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to say it just now, which will lead us nicely into Andy's facts. Right?
I just wanted the facts. I don't know.
I do. But actually, running doesn't need to go well to prepare you for the race. And I love that, right? Because
Again?
So running doesn't need to go well to prepare you for the race. So being out there running on a day-to-day basis doesn't need to go well every day. It's like what you've said before. You learn from the mistakes, and you learn more from DNFing than you'll ever do from winning.
And it's more like a mindset kind of thing. That's one of the things that is a big thing for me. Like everyone tells you like how to train, how to like do these splits and do these workouts. But one thing that I wish someone has told me when I started was the amount of mind strengthening or like building your toolkit, your mental toolkit, the one that you laugh how I call it. Like no one has told me how it kind of like didn't show me. I kind of did it on my own. It kind of worked out fine. But it's one of the things that people like don't train for it. So yeah, and you can do it in any little like everyday kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, it's something that you should, or you're starting to pick up into like, it's something that I need to work on.
See today, right? I went down my ankle. As you know, my ankle's sore, and I've got a bit of an IT band problem that I'm working on. And I went down today with a wee bit of caution for my run. And I was going to go down and do a 5K, see how it worked up. Ended up I done a 10K. And actually, but a personal best and everything today. Do you know what I mean? I was running just over a 5-minute kilometre, which I know isn't brilliant, but I was really happy with that because it's the best. It's the best
zero
I've done.
to that.
But it really made me think. So as a new runner, right, I'm constantly asking myself why it's bad or why it's good. I didn't really have the context of, and I understand with me, my ankle can be bad or my knee can be bad, but days where things are good, I can feel really tired some days running, or I can feel, or mentally I'm not getting it.
Yeah, adds a little bit of an extra stress.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like on my runs, I'm kind of always asking that, right? So I actually wanted to talk to you about that today. And I've incorporated it into Andy's facts.
I'm scared.
So
this looks like an interview. Why you didn't tell me I was being interviewed?
Well, it's Andy's facts. We're going to call it...
But it's really like a tiny interview.
We're going to call it, how do you deal with this?
Okay. Oh, it's like we were talking about mindset and mental toolkit. Okay, all right, so I like it. It's one of my favorite topics.
I do actually have some studies, obviously, to cite, because I've had a wee look at it, right? But the question is,
let's see if those studies back up, because I don't have any. Again, no one told me.
Yeah.
I didn't read any studies or usually, so I just did them all in the fly and kind of like play around which one was working and which one. So yeah, it will be interesting what the science says about it.
I think that's good, because coming from someone that never had that and you've had to work through it yourself to discover what's best. And listen, one shoe doesn't fit all. Yeah. How other people deal with things isn't. But I think for me and for hopefully listeners, they'll find it interesting to find out how you deal with
because you can be like, I'm going to try that.
Yeah, and that's the idea of it. Okay, so emotional impact on DNF.
Brutal.
So confronting failure as an essential objective for athletes, which was an article done in Le Monde 2024. Failing to complete a race or DNF can lead to significant emotional distress, including disappointment, frustration, a decreased self-esteem. Addressing these emotions is critical for maintaining health and preparing for future races. So how do you deal with that?
Agree entirely. I think you were obviously with me by that point when I had my first DNF, which was the 100-miler, the West Highland Way, which I didn't finish. And the first one was a punch in my ego. I was hard. I felt like I was the worst runner. I didn't deserve to be there or even try it. You feel stupid because you even, I was like, I'm so stupid of even trying this. Who the hell I think I am? I'm never going to be able to do this. Should I have done more? It is a hard pill to swallow the following days. And I think more when you are newish, because obviously it's your first DNF, it will be because you're just starting sort of that distance. So it's a feeling that it's a new feeling. As you, again, grow into the sport, you start understanding that that's exactly the place that you want it to be. And that is, have you heard, we were watching Courtney the other day, and she was saying that the pain cave, right? Just kind of like turning this into the pain cave.
She's got a chisel and she keeps knocking parts out to
exactly. But at the beginning, she thought, the pain cave is a place that I do not want to go. Yeah. And it was the same thing as the DNF. It's like almost like I do not want a DNF. That's like feared place to put myself into it. But later on, when she matured in the sport, she thought, oh, I'm looking forward to being in the pain cave. And it's the same thing. Not that I'm looking forward to DNF, but I'm not scared of it anymore. Like I live comfortably saying, oh, I had 3 or 4 DNFs in my...
It's almost like a badge of honor.
It's exactly. Yeah. And now it's like a scar. And all my scars that I have in my legs from multiple runs that I had to jump barbed wires, or all my chafing in my back is obviously I have like all my back is scarred. I almost wear it like that. Like I'm not, when I wear, I don't know, a swimsuit or I'm showing my legs, I don't, I'm not scared of showing them. Like it's actually the other way. It's like this is showing that I've lived and I've tried and maybe I finished a little bit scarred and a little bit, or maybe I didn't finish. Maybe my ego was a little punched, but it just shows that you are being present and you're trying hard. Because if you're not, if you keep always in the safe zone, well, you're never going to get hurt. You're never going to get any scratches, or you're going to, so definitely I think when you understand that beauty of that, you kind of like take it a little bit better. You kind of like swallow the pill a little bit, like, okay, that didn't work out. And then you just, okay, I'll try again next time.
The interesting thing about that, right, is that thinking about it, it sounds like it takes the pressure off. But
it takes the pressure off.
But ironically, when you take the pressure off, you do better.
You do better. That's correct. I think once I'm like, and then also I'm less scared of like the second time and third time, fourth time, I signed up on a DNF. When I was signing up, I was like, I'm going to try it and see what happens. Like, if it happens, it happens. If not, obviously, I'm going to train hard. Because that's already who I am. But, if it happens, it happens. If it not, it's the same thing when I sign up for the stage races. The first desert, for example, I was like, I'm going to try it and, we'll see what happens. And being relaxed definitely helps because you're not feeling that pressured and you can think clearer so you can make better decisions.
Yeah.
And definitely makes you think better of yourself and you love yourself a little bit more, giving you that leeway.
So giving advice to anybody out there, me, for example.
Oh, no, you're starting to ask.
For me,
people is asking.
For me, for example, right?
But it's really for you.
Is there anybody that hasn't done a race, and it could be any sort of distance, and the DNF, is there anything they can do pre-run to try and make themselves feel better, or do you think everyone just needs to go through it?
Well, you never know you're going to DNF, so if the moment happens, just think about that. It's not a scary place to be. And when you are signing up for it, like you did, I think that should be driven by curiosity. I always say that. If you're curious, just know that obviously being curious can be good, and then maybe it may not play out how you plan it to be. Yeah. So just arrive there knowing that both results are good, are great, and you should celebrate them the same as well.
Be there, do your best, and be comfortable with that.
Yeah, and then just celebrate it. Even though if you finished or not, just enjoy the ride. And if you don't finish, it's a good excuse to try it again, right? You're like, okay, I guess I'm coming back.
Because I guess you learn from not the mistakes, maybe the mishaps, because I don't believe now that there's really any luck in running.
No,
it's your either
a little bit.
I think that when it comes down to your stomach and things like that, I think
or the weather.
But see, the difference is some people really love running in bad weather, and some people don't.
Yeah,
so it's
and then but there's certain routes that you're you do really need good luck. Hope I always say let's hope the stars aligned, and I'm having a good day. My stomach is having a good day. It's not raining because it was going to be muddy and sleepy. Let's hope that, in Scotland more so when I was there, I was like, I hope it's not going to be raining. I hope it's not going to be super cold because that, So, that's a little luck.
I think there's things like that, yeah. But
the eccentric things,
listening to you and other people, the reason why I said I don't think that there's really as much luck in running, because the truth is that you know your body that well, you know what you're capable of, you know what you can do, and you know what you can't do. Yeah. The bad luck, if there is anything at all, and I'm not, no disrespect, I'm not convinced it's the weather. Maybe in a trail where it becomes slippy, I guess.
Yeah,
right. That's a bit of bad luck because. Yeah. But having said that, you will probably have trained for that in some way, right?
You will push through. It will make it harder because you're like, oh, great, now I have to deal with this. But you will finish it.
Where the luck does come in is I think that it can be your stomach and a few things like that. But I think that you are what you work to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's why the luck thing doesn't exist. But no, I'm really interested on how you come around to that. Do you know what I mean? If there's anything you can do before.
I guess you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, swiftly on to number 2.
You're gonna have 6 days on your own. Well, you won't be on your own. I mean, also, we'll have this chat. We'll write it down. But before your ultra, you're gonna have to tell me, like if you want me to be there for you when you're having a rough patch.
We'll get the first day out the way.
Or you do. It's gonna be interesting. So yeah.
Yeah.
You will have a lot of time to be thinking about your.
No, but I think that's good.
Just get there with your mental toolkit, like prepared.
I'll be carrying it with me in a toolbox.
Hope for the best.
Right. So next one is effects of bad training days. Yeah. So you failed your workout. Now what? On a book called Outside. It was done in 2024. Suggests that poor training days can negatively affect a runner's mood and confidence. However, recognising that these days are a natural part of training helps athletes maintain perspective and recover emotionally, ensuring long-term progress. How do you deal with that?
It depends. Me or just in general? Like
how do you? Because I think it's good for people to hear like a personal.
I'm going to say that before I would be like super stressed out that the workout didn't happen or that I'm sick or, whatever. Again, when you're like new to the sport or when you're driven by numbers and paces and targets and you're like stressing over it, maybe because you're new to the sport. When you grow a little bit more and you're mature, you're like, oh, well, I had a shitty workout. I'll try again tomorrow. Like it just becomes a routine. So it's not like a workout doesn't define you. You're not like, oh, I'm bad, I suck because my workout sucked. Like, it's like, oh, it is what it is, and that's it. Like, for example, I had a really bad week this week. I haven't trained good because it's still a funny story.
I don't know if the people are prepared for that.
Okay, people,
if you're happy, people are ready for this story.
If you're eating, you're going to pause it, finish your lovely meal, and then you will go back to hear this. So Saturday, we ordered a curry. Tanya loves, obviously, being Mexican, the spiciest curry in the menu. So if you know curries, it's the vindaloo, which I love. I always order it. It was on my first rodeo, absolutely fine. It arrived, it was super spicy, perfect. And Andy ordered like another curry, not spicy.
Not so spicy.
Not so spicy. So he was like actually telling me, oh, I think this chicken tastes weird. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I can't taste the chicken because clearly it's super spicy. So I was just shoving in everything. Didn't care. Well, that just backfired really bad. That Saturday night, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and even until yesterday that I had to go with the doctor with the stomach infection. And I tried to go for a run on Sunday because I was like, Monday. I was like, I need to move. Like, I need to... In my stupid head, I thought, when I'm about to get sick, I try to go for a run or sweat because I think sweat it out, right? Which probably that's not stupid when it's a stomach bug, right? But I thought that's my stupid head, and I just went out for a run. I was like, I feel better. Which I also felt a little bit better, so I thought maybe I go out for the run, and
Prepare yourselves, everyone. Prepare yourselves.
I'm just gonna say #never trust a fart.
Oh, that is the best way you could have put it, I think.
There is a hashtag out there, by the way. It's very famous saying because I've read it before and I'm like, how can you shit yourself running? That's impossible. I mean, I've always had that thought in my head, like that never happens. Like, how bad do you need to clearly you go to the toilet before, I was like, these people are just making things up. And then I'm like, yeah, and I understand.
So then what happens? I get the call.
I get a call, Andy, I need you,
Andy, I think I've shut myself.
Hurry up. And he's like, is it coming down your leg? I was like, no, but no, not that extreme. But yeah, it was a panic moment. So all that week, I haven't been able to clearly run. Today was my first sort of run, and I feel super weak and But like I take it, like I even yesterday I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just enjoying my day off. Just kind of like, yeah.
I have a question for you on that as well. Not on the poo, right? But do you think that dealing with the bad training days come with experience?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. So when I say that I go to the gym, and I go to the gym, as you know, like 5 days a week, or I'm running or whatever, there are times that I'll now say, I'll use running as an example.
Yeah.
I will be running my 10K to Kite Beach, and in my head, I will say, I need to answer my phone, or I need to have a drink or whatever. I'm going to stop for a second and just do it, knowing that I'm capable of doing the 10K without stopping, right? So I'm comfortable with stopping because I know I can stop. You know what I mean? Does that I don't need to stop, sorry. Is that the same? Sorry, in my earlier days, I would be panicking about the fact I was stopping because I hadn't quite met that level yet.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to everybody.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
It feels like it takes a bit of time to get to that point.
It's like right now, for example, I'm not training my mind anymore because I'm comfortable with the toolkit that I have currently. When before, I was like trying to put myself in the most uncomfortable positions because I was like, try like, really hard because I thought I don't have it. Like I need to build that up. So I guess is that I treat myself nicer now because I know, I've been able to push through really hard.
It kind of gets to a tricky point though, right? Which again, I guess would be another question of how you deal with this, which is one I haven't got written down.
Okay.
Is that
just making up things now.
Is that but I like these conversations because I think I learn from them.
I love that you're like super like excited.
I'll make it dead simple with this one, right? Is say that every second day I go to the gym and what I do is I bench press. And what I'm bench pressing is, say, 60 kilos just to keep it simple. And on the extra day, I decide to go heavy and I do 80 kilos. But then on my 80 kilo day, I just decide that day, no, it is, I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to just stick with my 60 because I know that I can do it. Now that becomes a dangerous game because then what happens is you're deciding not to do it for the right or the wrong reasons.
I would say like the 80% of the time. I'll say something. If you're new to this sport, push through. Like say, yes, I need, because that's how I used to do when I was at the beginning. And then when you're later on the sport, I think you can be like, okay, a couple of times, like give yourself a little bit credit, be like, but I think if you are right, like in the stage that you are, I think you should, because that's gonna that goes into the toolkit.
Yeah. And I find that that's one of the things that I'm probably most happy about. And I would assume that all new runners out there and runners who have been through my journey, that's one of the proudest parts sometimes is when you just do it because you go, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. It's like those days that you turn up to the gym when you really don't want to. You get there and you do it, and actually, funnily enough, they're sometimes the best workouts. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's quite an interesting topic of where it starts and stops of being okay and not being okay. You know what I mean? Makes sense? Okay, on to number 4. I love this one. This one's great.
Oh my God.
This one is great for you. This one's great for you.
Okay.
Mood, variability, and performance.
Okay, I'm always happy.
Mood and performance in endurance athletes, which was a study published in PubMed Central in 2021. Research on ultramarathon runners revealed that greater mood variability due to races correlates with slower completion times. Emotional stability appears to play a key role in maintaining consistent performance.
See what I say? I'm always happy, so I'm consistent.
On the days that you're not happy?
I'm always happy.
No, you're not.
I'm always happy.
I think that
even when I was when I was living in the toilet yesterday, I'm happy. Like, not happy with the situation, but overall mood. Like I don't come out and like scream at you, and I'm mental at you. I'm just really.
Listen, at the end of the day, you're human, right? You go through a whole range of emotions, and it's different on different days.
I'm not human.
Do you have the capacity to clear your mind?
Clear my mind? No, clearly I'm crazy.
Clear your mood?
Yeah.
Can you clear your mood?
I think I have experienced so much in my mental toolkit, or like my mental toolkit is so good that whenever I felt before that my mood was not good or not happy and I was going into a bad, moment, I would know how to fix it.
Yeah.
Right. And now, because I fix it so much, it's just like that.
It's like an automatic. It's like an automatic. You just put your foot.
So
in the
now I
pedal
don't
and
need
the
to fix
gear
anything because
changes.
it's just there. Like my brain now knows. Like maybe I do it like now unconsciously, that whenever there's a bad thought in my head, my brain now is like, oh no, we don't deal with those, and just kind of like. And it's not like I don't deal with those in a negative way. Maybe they come through, but I'm like, cool. But that doesn't affect my mood. Like I'm not doomed. Apart from my chato, which that was like a loss. Like for me, everything is fixable, achievable, to a certain extent. Like you can control it because you can control your mind and yourself and your mood and all that, right? Obviously, something so brutal like death that is so final, that is something that could, and that's one of the things I always said that could definitely move me. You need a hail of a strike to move me emotionally, internally, everything to move me. You will need a big punch to me. And the only thing that I think it would be big enough, it was a loss of someone, and that's what happened.
Let me put it another way.
Okay.
Is when you're out or doing long runs. So say, for example, even on your ultra marathons, you must go through a range of moods and emotions. Here's an example, right? Today, when I was running and I started off a bit
I have
nervous.
a question. Oh. Have you got the crying feeling? Like, do you want to cry?
No.
No, okay. Not yet.
Okay. I don't know if I like that. Anyway, but today when I started running, I mean, I got on the treadmill nervously, not in the greatest image, but when I started getting better and I realised my pace was better, and I'm not someone that's chasing pace, I just realised it was all good.
Yeah.
I had, and I wouldn't call it a runner's high because I don't think it's a runner's high that I got. I was a
boost of energy.
But what happened is I knew that I got lighter on my feet.
But that was your brain.
And I knew that I was getting better. I knew I was concentrating on my stride, everything. Do you know what I mean?
That was your brain.
But that's a mood change.
That was your brain. Your brain did that.
Yeah, but it's still a mood variability. Yeah. I went from being what. Does that happen in long distances? Because I see the videos and I see you where you look like you're burst, spent. Yeah, I mean you're all over the place. And then in the next video, and granted we don't see the time on it, you're all smiling and all happy.
I was saying that in the Antarctica video. By the way, the video is in the highlights of the race, the highlight race. And that's what I was thinking. And that the video guy, Andre, which is the one that has been documenting all of the races, that's what he was saying. He's like, one loop is like Tanya dying. Tanya like, shut up, don't look at me. And then the next loop is like, hi, hello. And then Andre's like, he's like, I'm always nervous just to see you coming. I don't know if you're going to punch me. Are you going to say hello to me? If you're going to...
So there you go.
Obviously, but it's in a laughing way, right? It's in a loving way. I would never be punching him like...
But how do you come out of that? How do you... Because obviously that's mood variability where you've come in and one where you're not happy.
We spoke about it in a previous podcast, but it's going to be very early in the season. So I will re-say it for everyone. Just know that the feelings are going to be there, and it's like a wave, right? So you just have to ride whatever wave is coming. Like, just don't try to fight it because you're going to get exhausted. Just be aware, like, oh, I feel sad. All right. And then next, like, I know it's going to change because I'm not going to leave sad all my life, are you? So it's like, oh, okay, great, I'm sad. So I don't fight it. I just let it be. If I want to cry, because that sometimes happens when you're having like that super runner's high that you're like, the fly passed and you're like crying because the fly passed and why is he doing here? It's so hard. Why are you, did you eat today? I don't know. You start thinking wild things. Then you start crying. But I'm like, you're obviously you are aware that you're having these thoughts, but I don't fight them. I don't take them away. I just ride the wave, like, You know?
I guess it's a bit like the pain cave idea then, isn't it?
Yeah, like I'm not scared of the mood swings. Like I just be like, I know it's gonna happen. It has happened 100 times, and I've been up and down, and I know, just know that it's gonna happen, and just let them be.
Be prepared for anything.
Yeah, mentally, like know that your brain is gonna like go wild places, and just be like,
just be happy with
it's gonna be fun, because when you are new, you have no point, right? You have you don't know what's gonna happen. So I think the first time for anyone is so cool. It's so exciting, because I remember my first time. Like, you have no idea. So everything is new, everything is exciting, everything is interesting. I think more when you're like, when it's your, I don't know how many marathons, I've ultra marathons done, probably more than 20, 30. You're like, oh God, here we go again. So the novelty again wears off a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's not less fun, but you're like, you're a little bit, like, let's see if we can find something new, but it's usually not. It's just usually the same.
Okay, so this leads me on to something the same but different. This one I'm going to talk about cognitive function, right?
Okay.
And the reason why I was interested in this is because on my runs that I've been doing on Saturdays, like the 19-20k ones, it's been for me towards the end of it that I'm like, my brain is frazzled, because I feel like I've been thinking about everything. And that's where trail running is very, very different from road running. Road running, you just got on and you run and that's it. Whereas trail running, no disrespect to road running, because I do both, and actually I prefer road running at the moment, but it makes you think differently, and your brain is constantly moving, right? So
I don't like it.
Overtraining and cognitive function. Effects of overtraining on cognitive function in endurance athletes, which is a study by PubMed again in 2023, was saying that overtraining without proper rest impairs cognitive function and increases mental fatigue, leading to poor performance. Incorporating rest days is vital for maintaining physical and mental well-being, which in studies have shown is often the case of bad training and injury. How do you deal with that? Because here's the big,
I love rest days.
But here's the big question, right? Is actually, it's not like you train 6 days a week mostly.
Yeah.
6 days a week.
How many days are in the week?
7. Okay. So, jeez. 6 days a week, but your training sessions aren't just light training sessions. What you're doing is you're doing pretty heavy strength. Well, apart from this week when you purge yourself, but your training is pretty heavy, and you're not just doing short distances either. You're doing long distances some days. I mean, I know that you go out, your training's quite involved in doing an hour each day running, no matter what, and then there's other days there's 3 hours or whatever, 4 hours, and you're going to be that will change the closer you get to the race, and then you'll come back to tapering. So it'll be different, right?
Look at you. You know
all the words and everything.
You know everything, yeah.
But
you've been living here too long now.
But as you get into that stage where you've upped your training again, how do you deal with that? Because surely cognitively it must make you tired and must make it a bit more dangerous.
That it's dangerous if you don't have a proper training so kind of suitable for your lifestyle. I am able to put all this time because that's all I do, and that's all we do pretty much. Like, I don't have kids, so I don't have a job, like a 9-to-5 job at least, and I can put all this time. That would look definitely different, and that's why I say it's always super important to have someone that knows the stress levels of your life, because obviously
Is that me?
No, you have. Well, you deal with me, so probably your stress levels are quite high. So it would depend. It would like the training would be super different from someone that works a 9-to-5, or it's a nurse. Which I had athletes that are nurses, and they have like crazy schedules. For example, they work sometimes overnight. So I'm not gonna put her to go, over her after her long shift to go and run 5 hours. Like, like maybe you will do it once in a while, just to, toughen up, but it wouldn't be sustainable. Yeah. So that's important to have that. What you want is to be sustainable enough that you can do it forever, because that's what's going to lead you to, well, not forever, but for a long time, that's what's going to lead you to really be able to endure and build up that endurance. I mean, I've been doing it for 10 years now, so it wasn't built in a year or in months or.
But do you notice any kind of difference when you get to the weeks where, especially you're running more miles in the week and your training becomes harder. No, but you don't notice any cognitive difference. You don't notice any.
I'm tired.
Do your feet get heavier, or do you like? Is there?
You know what? I don't overthink too much. I think I'm like, I don't think too much.
Yeah. You don't drill too much. You just recognize when it happens. And deal with it.
I don't think. That's when people are like, "Why are you so happy?" Like, I don't think that much about things. I'm just like, let's hang on for this. Okay, let's do it. All right. Oh, that's feeling really tough. But it's like, oh yeah, well, it is what it is. Like, there's nothing I can do. That's how I feel. Great. Let's deal with it, or let's keep going, or whatever. So, yeah.
So I guess the truth is there's
don't think too much.
There's good days and bad days in it all, but as long as you don't think about it too much, I'm going to say something. Like,
I think that's just a wrong way to say it. If it's a good or bad day, it's just a day, and that's it.
And that takes me back to my statement.
What?
That running doesn't need to go well to prepare you for the race.
It's not.
It can be what it is. You actually get good out of it no matter what.
It's just a day and that's it. Yeah. It's like you're being consistent. You're there. It's not about being like, it's a good day. But what makes a good day and a bad day? Like, I don't understand how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Or how the numbers went good in your
because it doesn't matter for a day, does it?
It's just I don't know what you will have to have like a scale of what makes it a good day or a bad day. Yeah. But it's like when people label food or bad food and good food. In reality, it's not really something that is good food and bad food. So
unless it's a vindaloo.
Bad food. So let's do that. Let's just start labeling days like that, because that if you say I had a bad day, that is talking to yourself in a bad way already. Like, oh, I had a bad day. Like that already puts you in a mood.
It's decreasing mood, isn't
it? It's just like, oh, I had a workout. I did a workout, and that's it. Like it's a day. Like it is what it is. I don't understand. Maybe it's just my psycho mind. I just don't think about it too much. I don't label because I don't think about it too much. I don't label things. It is what it is.
But I think it's really good tapping into that experience and understanding how the mind works and how you go.
So let's
especially from new ones.
Let's do that exercise for everyone, new ones, old ones, everyone that's starting to train this year for something big. Well, just training, I guess. Let's just start labeling days. There's no good and bad days. There's just days. You're showing up. Great.
Getting the most.
We're alive. Yes. Done.
And there it is. Andy's facts done.
And let's just stop dwelling too much in good day, bad day. Maybe it would have been better if I was faster. It would have been worse if I was slower. But maybe if I ate that, it would have been better. Like I can't.
But you surely wouldn't think that now anyway because of your performance and what you've done. You've got the confidence to know that none of that matters. But I think for people who are just starting out like me, I'm trying to understand why I feel like these things sometimes. You know?
I don't think too much. Just get your workout done. Great. Oh yeah, it was better. I feel better today. Good. Or I felt good. No, that's it. If you feel bad, just acknowledge. Oh yeah, I felt a little bit iff today, like I did in my run. Like oof, and I laugh about it. It's fun. Everything is fun. Even bad days are fun. You know. Oh, I should a day. I shit my pants. And we're laughing.
Let's stop talking about that.
And I was laughing about it a little bit.
Okay, good.
Yay! So today, really quick, we're just going to end up with the Antarctica, the last desert. Chat to just put it and say goodbye to the fourth desert.
To the penguins?
To the penguins. I was going to say that because I received a couple of messages, people saying, you didn't talk about like all the animals that you've seen and the beauty. Yeah, probably because I was running. Probably I should have put a little bit more emphasis that it's beautiful. Like the wildlife that I seen, it was unreal.
I remember right, I put up a story about you stealing penguins.
Oh, yeah.
And we get somebody saying it.
So in the boat, in the ship, the guys told us, let's talk about my crazy story about the pepperamis, because that's where the guy...
Oh, yeah.
All right, okay, let's go.
Another poo story. Another poo story, ironically.
It's not a poop story. There is no poop story. All right. Day 3. We get to Damoy Point. It was 5 hours, day 3. that was the day that we arrived to the post office. We didn't see the post office. That was the only bad thing. The post office came to us, so they went and picked them up with the Zodiacs. I guess while we were running, they went and picked them up, and then they took them into the boat, and they set up like a little postal office inside the boat in the dining area. And they called us, and we were able to go and buy postcards and fill your postcard and send them, which, by the way, everyone was saying that they've just received their postcards that they sent from the boat. I didn't send any, so don't expect any postcards from me.
You brought some home with you, though.
I did, but I didn't send any there. But they had the cutest thing. So you were able to bring your passport. Oh, I forgot my passport. And they would stamp it with... Oh yeah, I have it here. They will
sorry
stamp
about the noise,
it.
everyone.
I forgot about it, and they stamp it with the Antarctic stamp. So I'll put it there in the. Oh, you cannot see it. I'll put it in the YouTube or in the Instagram as well, so you can see it. It's a wee penguin. How cute! You pay, I don't know, and everything's donation. So just donate something to a charity. It's an English charity, because remember the post office is English.
Obviously.
We don't know why, but what was it? Antarctic politics. And yeah, so that was really fun. It was sort of like a different day, right? Because we had like guests in the boat, and they also joined us for the run that day. The guys from the post office. Oh, cool. So they were running around with us in the loops, and it was really fun to have different people, in the course. And it was beautiful. We did 5 hours, and I did that day 25 kilometers, and it was beautiful. It was a really, really nice day. And that's it. We went back to bed, done for the day. And the next day, because we have the second longest day of the trip.
Is this when the pepperoni story happened?
Pepperoni story. I think it is. I can't remember when exactly was the pepperoni story, but let's throw the pepperoni story here, because one of those days that I come back from the race or from the run, I didn't eat my pepperoni. So I took it out of the bag.
Pepperami.
Oh, pepperami.
Yep. You know those green sticks that you get that are fake meat?
I don't know if they're fake, though.
I don't know what
They're delicious. They're a great source of fat, and since those have saved me a couple of times, and they are not sweet, so they're kind of salty, and they're just delicious. Great option for ultra distances if you out there. No. You can try it. And I've put them in the deserts as well.
Yeah,
I've taken them a couple of times. So I brought back, I didn't eat it, and it was all like disgusting by that point, so I wanted to throw it away. But Maiwa, my roommate, was like, that's a stinking, because obviously it has a very strong smell, very particular. So she's like, that is a stinking. I'm like, I'm going to throw it in the toilet, because if I throw it in the rubbish bin, it was an open bin as well. So it would happen stink the whole little cabin that we were into. Yeah. So I threw it into there, and I tried to flush that. Well... It started making the loudest noise you could ever. I remember, like, oh my God, we started screaming. Oh my God, this thing is just going to blow up. What is happening? I was freaking out. And then Maiwa just went out into the hallway screaming, help.
Oh,
Can you imagine the madness?
Help, the toilet is going to explode.
So... people from maintenance, they just come in running, and they're like, what do you guys do? And I'm like, oh God, I'm going to have to come up clean with this story. I'm like, well, I threw some peperamis in the toilet. The guys were there fixing it. They had to pull the whole thing out of the wall. And then there's the guy took the two sticks with her hand and then showed me, is this it? And I was like, so can you imagine the picture of Maiwa and I just pissing ourselves laughing the two guys in maintenance just like, knees down in our tiny toilet. The toilet is off the wall and the guy just holding the pepperami in his hand. It
like,
was
found it.
Yes, it was hilarious. I was like, someone should this is the most bizarre scene in history. Obviously, we got again for the second time in trouble because they were like, you're not supposed to throw anything, which they did say. But to be honest, I thought because it's the same shape of a poo, so
a strange poo, but yeah,
I thought it would be okay. And so they were like, you guys cannot do that. You could have blew the whole toilet system, and it sounded like that, to be honest.
All for a pepperami going down the toilet.
Yeah. So that was a funny story.
So the lesson is, don't. I tells you how. I think that shows you how indestructible pepperamis are.
And half of the boat were outside our room, kind of like, what is happening? They heard, obviously everyone heard about the screaming, about the running around of the maintenance people, about the whole noise that it made. So it was like, oh, it's just done. And like, do you guys broke the toilet? Why have you been? So everyone was like asking about the story. So that was the story. Sorry. All right.
Only you, honestly. Only
the Mexican. Just kick out the Mexican.
I can imagine the guys on the boat that day going back home to their wives and saying
they couldn't go. They couldn't go.
Whatever it is, their story. They'll be sitting in the pub in Ushuaia like that. What about those two girls with the peperamis? What was going on there? And then some poor guy would be like, I had to take the toilet off.
They were giving us a hard time, but to be honest, they were laughing. And I gave them a little chocolate as well because I bought chocolates in Ushuaia. So I gave the guys one chocolate and they were okay. I feel bad for them. Well, cool. That was one of the days. I can't remember exactly when, but it was really funny. And then, let's go to day number 4. That was the second longest day that we had to deal with. And it was 9 hours of running. So everyone geared up, woke up that morning. I go to the toilet and disaster. I'm like, no.
you found a pepperami in it.
I was like, no. And Mai was like, what? I'm like, no. And my one knew exactly my scream, what it was. That was funny. She was like, did you get your period? I was like, yeah, just that. Like, seriously, the morning of a really long day. I wasn't prepared because I wasn't counting on having that kind of visit during the race because I just had to visit before leaving for the race. But like I said, my period has been just bonkers over this year because of
what you've been
all
doing.
The extreme things that I've been doing. So to be honest, it just came out of nowhere. I had no idea. So there you go. Really early in the morning, everyone's obviously running around. What time was
it about?
Like 6, 7. And everyone's kind of like running around getting ready. The race directors, race organizers are also getting ready. Like, everyone's running. It's a hectic time in the morning. Everyone's getting ready for like the racers. And there's me trying to run around finding something like a lady.
We know you don't need to go into detail.
So and I was like telling the organizers, I think this is a good point for if you are a race organizer or organization or whatever. I think you should be prepared and have that. There is actually a race movement called She Races, which they are like the organization that make sure that races have these kind of things in place. But I don't know if it's a US or UK organization, but they are getting more to more races. Clearly, my race didn't get the memo, so there was nothing around. So that was a little bit of a panic moment. But after running around a couple of times and panicking, I was able to find the solution and got a couple of those and just hope for the best. That was cool because obviously it was not like the best option, but just hoping that would solve the day. And that's how I ran 9 hours. I got really hard cramps a couple of times, and I was like, great. And there was a lot of climbing that day. It was going up again and down this massive hill.
Is that the images we see
with the
sort of zigzags on the hill?
Right, okay. It was brutal. But I was kind of enjoying the downhill.
Yeah.
Again, I think because by this day, there was a couple of people very sore and injured in their knees. Like their knees were starting to give some grief to a lot of people. Again, they've been running around for 3 days in sleepy conditions. And if you don't have the muscular and the kind of like the proprioception to kind of like react quickly in your legs, they were already a couple. So for them to go downhill, there was a lot of people walking down very slow with like already like injured kind of, and there was me kind of like just running as fast as I could down. And another thing that kind of kept me going, because like I said, it was a loop, so it became really boring. So what I developed in those days was that, no, I mean, nothing against this poor woman, right? But I had someone that was kind of like behind me, and I said, I was playing the game of like, let's see how many times I can overlap them. It was a game. And so when I seen it, like her go like close enough, I would like push the pedal and I would be like trying to pass her, like, okay, 1, and then I would go again. That was giving me something to hurry up, or I don't know, just like a stupid game in my head, like, okay, 4, see how many times I can loop today.
How long would it take you to do a loop?
This one in particular, I think was like 40 minutes, an hour.
Right, okay.
So yeah, it was fun. I mean, the first, like the top 2-3 runners that were lapping us like Jasmine, which is the woman that won the race, she was lapping me twice in that one loop. I was like, but I just seen you like 10 minutes ago. Absolutely beasts out there. But yeah, so it was a really fun day. That day also was one of my favorites because, again, yes, we were going up a hill, but because we were going up a hill, we had like this beautiful view from the top. And suddenly I heard like a little bit of a commotion happening. We couldn't scream or anything because obviously there's wildlife around and you cannot scream and make, loud noises because of the penguins are just like literally next to you and you don't want to disrupt them. Or seals, they're taking their nap and you don't want to be like, screaming. But I heard like a little bit of like, and there were whales crossing around like at the distance. And the people that were doing kayak, because again, if you remember, there was people that were doing friends and family, so they were not running. So they had activities, by the boat that they were planning for them. And there were a couple of people kayaking around. And they were able to get so lucky that they got to see the whales just like literally meters away from them. I've seen them from the top, but they were crossing. But I seen the white guys in the kayaks, and I was like, oh my god, I would be freaking out. They were literally like, just a couple of meters away, and they got some spectacular shots from them. But that was a really nice day. A lot of penguins again. Yeah, a lot of seals. So like that's an everyday kind of view now. And that was a beautiful day. And it was super hot again, like brutally hot. I was like stripping off again. There were people pulling their leggings up to like go into a short kind of thing. They were pulling their leggings up. And I was trying to take like, I don't know what else to take off. I was just so hot. So yeah, it was a really nice day. Definitely one of my top, I think, because the first day, even though it was long and one of my favorite days as well, because it was the first day, you were a little bit like, I don't know, nervous or whatever. But because this is what day 4, you were a little bit like, knowing a little bit more the drill, you were a little bit, and also knowing that the next day was going to be your last day.
Yeah.
That's always a good thing.
Feel like you've got over the hill.
Yeah, you're like, that's it, last day. And usually, that's usually the longest day, the 4th day. That's when you're going to have your long march, which is your 80-kilometer day.
Does that not change in different races, though? Because I'm sure you've had...
Yes, but in Gobi, it's different just because of the route and doesn't allow it. But usually it's 4 days, 1 double, and then your finish run, the finish lap.
Victory lap.
The victory lap, yeah. All right, and then we're coming to the end on day 5. Very sadly, we got to Deception Island, which is like a famous island.
Bizarre name, Deception Island.
I know, like but we're not very deception. It was not deception.
Deceptive.
I'm so glad you're here because my English is like rubbish.
No, it's not.
Deception Island, and it is going to be 6 hours. Well, they told us it was going to be 4 hours. Well, no, they said that the first guy. So the race finishes when someone hits 250, right? And the first place was 50 kilometers away of the 250. So once one clocks out, obviously if he clocks out at the hour, then you will still run a little bit because, you know, but they said you should because he was missing 50, we were like, maybe 4 or 5 hours, we were like, okay, he was very fast people. So we're like, oh, maybe, you know. So we're actually cheering on him because we were like, hey, just make it fast, Come on. And even though when he was like stopping to eat, everyone was like, come on, don't stop to eat. You don't have that. You can't do that. We're all waiting for you. So it was funny because the poor guy had so much responsibility that day, but he was so lovely. Oh my God, what a guy, seriously, like in love, crush, totally. Because so we were running. We thought it would be around 4 hours. We thought. And no, it took us 6 hours. It took him 6 hours to finish 50 kilometers. It was a little bit of elevation as well. And it was so windy. So that made the running up the hill, up the road, like half of the lap was really, really tough because it was like just pushing you. So impossible to run. But the fun part was the other way because when you were coming, it would like the wind will push you.
Oh, yeah.
So it was easier. So it was not against you. It was actually pushing you forward. So that was a good thing. So again, up the hill or up was really, really difficult. And then the way down, there was not a lot of penguins that day because it was a little bit more like gravel kind of day. But it was really fun to see the guys. And then because we were all cheering for him, every time he was passing, you know, overlapping me or whatever, we're like, yeah, come on. You know, he had like the best day probably. And it was funny because I thought it was going to be my last lap. And everyone's like, no, he still has a couple of, you know, when you ask, right, when you're back in like 0.0, you're like, how is he doing? Like, no, I think... you know, one more. And I was like, okay, one more. All right, here we go. So I did like 3 last laps because I thought that was my last one. And then I came back and I'm like, no yet. Okay. So up again, you know, and I was like, fuck's sake, how many laps? I've been doing 3 last laps. And there's me recording me like, this is my last lap. And it was not. Yeah. So if you see that video, it's pure makeup because it was not my last lap. I had like 3 more after that. And but I knew it was his last lap definitely because he got to me again and he was stopping and saying like congratulations to everyone. He would stop giving you a hand, a hug, and we're like just go. No, he was being so like absolutely like what that's what I was saying. What a guy, seriously. Yeah. He was just stopping every time he would pass people. He would stop, say congratulations, hug us, and you know, and then. So it was, and we would know he because he was saying it's my last lap, so we knew when he was finishing, everyone will be finishing. Yeah. So once he passed me, I was like, oh, this is it, yay! So it was it was like a good, I don't know, it was a nice touch. Yeah, and I didn't have a video because I didn't know he was like so close to me, and I was just like kind of like walking and putting on until he's like, hey. And I turned around like, oh, there's you. He's like, this is my last lap. Congratulations. And I was like, just hurry up, man. But I was very happy that was my last one. I think I was, the last day I was running fairly quickly or trying to do as much. So by the end of the week, we clicked, I think, 67 kilometers, 166 kilometers. And fourth place was 165. So I was off for 1 kilometer. I don't know how that happened, but because 1 kilometer, how do you, if each lap, you know, how can you be off for 1 kilometer? You will be off for a whole lap.
A whole lap it would need to be,
and
especially
we
if
never
everybody needs
did
to
one
finish.
lap. We never did a lap that was a kilometer.
And you have to finish the lap to be covered.
Yeah. So it was weird. But like I said, it's not about, you know, places or anything because it was the organization was a little off in like the punching card and all that. But yeah, it was still really fun. And that was it. We were back in the boat, celebration dinner, obviously. We had the second day. We obviously had to go back into resting mode because, again, we were going back into the Drake Passage. So, again, just don't move. Just lie down. Yes. We don't want anything to happen.
Was the seas particularly bad at any point?
They said that, again, I was going to say the driver, the captain. The captain said that it was not bad, and the crew said that it was quite nice. So I still felt that it was tough. So who knows? And so when we started arriving to calm waters, we did the dinner. Well, the prize presentation and all that. And as always, we had the presentation of the video and the photographs by the videographer and the photographer. And that, I think, for me, I think I've never mentioned it, but it was one thing that I was thinking the other day, that the photographs, the video as well, because it's quite funny and it's good to see the whole, like, everything you've done. Maybe not particular in this race, but there's other races like the Namibia one and Gobi that sometimes he drives his drone and then you are able to see the massive distance that you've covered, that sometimes you don't realize the enormousness of the distance, because you're in it. But when you see it from a drone or from far away, it's just absolutely. So that is like really cool to see that in the video. And then also the photographs. And Thiago, which is a photographer, has a really lovely touch that at the end he puts a profile photo, like a mugshot kind of thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's called mugshot because he goes around the camp on the last day and he's like mugshot, and you literally have to turn around and however you look, that's how you, because it's the last day after usually the long march, you get your mugshot. So. And then when we start seeing him traveling around camp, not in this race again, but in, when you're in the other races in the camp and we start seeing him around, you start like getting like, okay, he's coming for the mock shot and just trying to look decent. But whenever you don't think he is just around the corner and he just screams, Tanya, mock shot, and you turn around and that's you. So, what I was going to say is that I love the touch that he has to take those mock shots. And then at the end of the presentation, he puts them
one after the other.
One after the other. But it's really, you get so emotional. Again, not maybe in this race because there was like no DNF itself and it was not a super grueling or super harsh race. It was more like a fun one. But the ones that are really harsh, for example, Jordan or Namibia, there was a lot of people that didn't finish or a particular really, really, like you could see the face of the people like absolutely like destroyed. And it's just something so I don't know. I just love it. And then
it's powerful to see the
powerful
emotion in people,
to see. Yeah, exactly. You can see, and he's a great photographer, to be honest. You can see that's the word. You can see the emotion in those eyes, in like you can see what they've gone through almost, or how much they've suffered to get there. And so you have the pictures of the people that actually finished. Yeah. So there's, you see them with all just depleted, tired, but with that like emotion and love and celebration, happiness is just a weird combination. Yeah. Again, if you want to see those, I think I posted a couple of my mock shots, but and then seeing them one after the other is like almost like you feel like, oh my God, we're survivors. That is absolutely
like a part of a big team that made it.
Yeah, it's just, and a lot of people get emotional. I get emotional sometimes because it's like all those people went through the same distance as you. They went through the same, some with more challenges than others, but we all fought the same battle. And it's that kind of feeling like we all fought together. Yeah. And these are the people that we're able to push through. And to be honest, those people that have done some of those races are the hardest people I've ever, like mentally and strong, that I've ever met. There's some ladies there, some ladies there that are so tough that you can, if I needed to go to war, that's the people I would definitely call. They would be like I'm taking them. I'm not taking the guy in the CrossFit. No respect. I'm taking these guys. These guys know how to survive everything, and they are just like, they're problem solvers. They can you know.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm excited to see that.
Oh my god! Yeah. Forgot about that. So when you hear Tiago around mugshot, just get yourself ready and pretty to pose for your mugshot.
I'll make myself look worse. I'll cover myself in mud
and
stuff.
Oh, it's it will be interesting to see all those photos for you for sure. Hope everyone's excited for that one. Well, we have more exciting things before, but you know. All right, guys. So hope everyone's training really hard. Let me know if you have any questions. We are finishing with Antarctica chat, but we have much more cool information for this season. We have a couple of interviews. We have obviously preparations for Atacama that is coming, and we have also how we're going to deal with being Cocodona so close to it, and Cocodona itself, it's proving to be logistically difficult. So we're gonna go through that as well. So you're coming with us. So stick with us, and hope you have a great weekend. And remember to keep doing whatever makes you
ultra happy.